हे गाइस, आपका स्वागत है मेरे चैनल सुनो कहानी पे। वी वर रीडिंग डेज एट द मोरिसाकी बुक शॉप बाय सतोशी यागिसावा, जिसके पार्ट 1 हमने ऑलरेडी कंप्लीट कर दिया है। वीडियो ऑलरेडी अपलोडेड है, सो यू कैन वॉच देम। और सेकंड पार्ट का 3 चैप्टर भी मैंने अपलोड कर दिया है, तो वो भी आप सब देख सकते हैं। और आज हम पढ़ने जा रहे हैं चैप्टर 4। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट। व्हेन नाइट फेल आई fought off Momoko's attempts to make me stay longer, said goodbye, and left the bookshop. I wandered along the narrow back street on my way to the train station. The night was cool, with just a slight chill in the air as I passed beneath the street lights. The shadow I cast on the asphalt grew longer. As I reached the Savior, my feet stopped on their own. Seeing the orange light of its sign shining in the lonely street at night, I was like Stock. It triggered a sudden urge to drink coffee. When I looked at my watch, it was just a little after 8. I opened the door. It was like something was pulling me inside. The coffee shop was lively as it always was. Even at this time of night, from the entrance, I could hear the sound of gentle piano music mixed with the lovely conversation of the other customers. Then I stepped a familiar figure sitting at the corner. Seeing that short and stout body and smooth bald head from behind, I knew it could only be Savo. He was deep in conversation with the owner about something or other. When he noticed me, he waved and called for me to come over and sit beside him. The owner greeted me with his usual smile as I sat down next to Savo. Hey Takako, it's good to see you back. Just as I was about to smile at him, Savo cut in saying, Takako, you have got to smile more. Try to be little friendly. That's why you are not popular with guys. I told him it was none of his business. Sabo giggled as if something were funny, but you came at the right moment, he said. We were just talking about all of you. Momoko came back right. Sataru's playing it cool. Why didn't he tell me about it? You could hear the obvious curiosity in his voice. Sabo, let's not pry too much, the owner said, reprimanding him. Why? What's the big deal? Besides, are not you the one who told me about it? You said Momoko had come back, Sabu said, pretending to sulk. There is absolutely nothing cute about an old man pretending to sulk. The only cute thing at the Savior was my friend Tomo, who used to work here part-time. Unfortunately, she would finished grade school and gotten a job, so she was no longer at the coffee shop. From what I heard, however, she and Takano were keeping up their friendship. Sabu was still complaining as the owner gently placed my coffee in front of me. Last night Sabu wandered in, and I let it slip, the owner said, sounding apologetically. His eyes, on the other hand, showed he was curious to know more. The two of you both knew Momoko before, right? Naturally, how many years do you think I have been hanging around this neighborhood? Sabu said, sounding quite proud of himself. Mr. Morisaki was married before. It does not fit my image of him. At some point, Takano had come out of the kitchen carrying plates and towels in both hands, and he eagerly joined the conversation. That's right, Sabu said. You never knew. He's really sort of widower, isn't he? But when he was young, those two used to be make out in front of everyone. It was quite a show, wasn't it? There was a bit of that, I guess, the owner said. There was a bit of that, I guess, the owner said. At any rate, Momoko is still beautiful, isn't she? When she came in, she said, it makes me so happy to have your coffee after all this time. She looked like she was doing really well. Oh, you are a soft touch. She just wanted to flatter you. If you ask me, she suddenly comes home after being missing for years. She would better have more than a few jokes. Sataru would run her off straight away. If my wife tried that, I would knock her down. As he talked, Sabu worked himself up to such a state of excitement that his face turned all red like an octopus. Hold on now, Sabu. You sound so aggressive, but whenever your wife tries to make you get rid of some books, are not you the one begging her in tears? When we heard that, Takano and I both burst out laughing. Hey, shut up. Hey, shut up. What are you laughing about, Takano? Get back to your work. Sorry. Takano fled to the back in a hurry as Sabu threw a towel at him. If you are tried ticked off, don't take it out on my staff, the owner said with an exasperated look on his face. Are not you the one who normally bullies him? That I do out of love. Love, the owner said earnestly. Whereas the feeling your wife inspires is in you is fair. You have always been a real chap, haven't you? Fine, I'm angry. I'm pissed. Okay, how about I have some strained words with Momoko for Sataru? We know that Ninko will never be able to say anything. Hey, now, stop butting into others people's business. The owner was kidding Sabu, even though he was the one who got Sabu riled up in the first place. Wow, this neighborhood definitely attracts its share of weirdos. The thought made me smile, but then Sabu took an aim to me, Takako. Quit smoking there by yourself. It's unpleasant. Right after this, there was another little development at the Savior around 9. Sabu stopped making a fuse and went home, probably because if he did not get back early, his wife would let him have it. So I moved to sit at a table as the night wore on. There were only a few customers left. I ordered another coffee and promptly took the book I had been reading from my bag and opened it up to my page. Then I noticed something. There was someone I recognized sitting by the window. He was a slim man in his late 20s. He wore a pale blue shirt with grey pants. His hair was cut short and neatly trimmed. There was nothing fleshly about him, but there was something appealing about how neat he was. He was staring out the window absent-mindedly with a half-read paperback lying face down on the table. He looked as if he were waiting for someone. Who was he? As I stared at him, thinking this over, he suddenly turned to me as if he would noticed I was looking at him. When our eyes met, we both looked surprised. He looked at me and then at a paperback I was holding, then again back and forth. If he were comparing the two, then he nodded as if he would understand and quietly said hello. Hearing his voice, I finally remembered where I would met him before. How could I have forgotten he was someone I had dealt with many times at the Morisaki bookshop? Because we were indebted with extremely idiosyncratic regulars, with Sabu chief among them. It was harder for someone a bit more withdrawn like him to make a strong impression, so it just took me a moment to remember him. I was frustrated as I turned his greetings, embarrassed about having stared at him so shamelessly. Nice to see you. It's been a while, I said. I'm quickly bored, but he smiled and said, Oh, there is no need to be so formal. He had a nice smile that put you at ease. Right at the moment the waiters arrived at my table, carrying my coffee on her tray. She was standing directly between the two of us and seemed confused about what to do in the situation. I got caught up in it too and started feeling frustrated. Seeing this, he slyly offered an invitation. Would you like to sit here? Would you by any chance be waiting for someone? I asked hesitantly. Not especially at the moment, he replied. Hearing this, the waitress regained her confidence and her smile. In that case, here it is, she said, quickly placing my coffee in front of his seat. To which I responded, I guess I'll sit here then. As I moved to the seat across from him in times like this, I tend to get sort of carried away. He had just been kind enough to invite me over. It was not that he especially wanted to talk to me. Now I was interrupting his alone time. Once I started thinking this way, I felt I needed to apologize. When I reached my new seat, the waitress told us to take our time, then she bowed and left us. We watched our walk away before we turned to face each other. Silence fell. This is awkward, I thought as I shifted in my seat. Then he started to laugh to himself quietly. I stared at him blankly. Sorry, he said. This sort of feels like a setup for an arranged marriage. The smile on his face won me over and I burst out laughing. We haven't been properly introduce ourselves, he said, clearing his throat. My name is Akira Wada. He said he worked at a publishing company nearby that mostly dealt in textbooks and teaching material. When I introduced myself, he said, That's right, Takako. I remember the cheerful owner of the shop was always yelling out Takako, Takako in a loud voice. He nodded again and again as he laughed. My face turned red. Ah, that would be my uncle, I murmured. Really? Your uncle? It must be it must be great to have a relative who runs a used bookshop. Vada exclaimed, sounding genuinely jealous. But you are no longer working at the shop. Yeah, for one reason or another, I ended up staying there for a while and working at the shop in exchange for room and board. I guess you could say I was there long enough to recharge my batteries. Recharge your batteries at the shop? Yes, I like that. Recharge your batteries, Vada exclaimed again. But to get, but to, but to get to do it at used bookshop now that sounds luxurious. Oh man, I'm jealous. Then he went on what was almost a little monologue about how if it had been him, he would never left. He would have just kept on recharging his batteries forever. Somehow, the idea of living at a used bookshop seemed to ignite something within him. He was turning out to be surprisingly humorous guy. Oh, how is your girlfriend doing? I asked. I used to see you together a lot. He was still itching and eyeing about living in a bookstore when I remembered her. Vada used to come to the bookshop by himself for the most part, but occasionally he brought a girl with him. She was slim and tall like him, and the two of them looked good together, but she did not seem especially interested in books. Vada would be carefully examine the books with this earnest expression on his face while she was off on her own looking bored. When she finally got tired of waiting for him, she would get miffed and say, Still not done yet? And he would desperately apologize. Sorry, just a little longer. Sabu used to say, Going to used book as a couple is a prosperous idea, but watching the back and forth between them gave you sense of how close they were. I thought it was charming. Oh, I remember those days. The tone of his voice dropped in a response to my question. I'm afraid I have been dumped, he added and laughed dryly. Then he got a rather decent look in his eyes. I'm sorry, I apologized right away. I was ready to throw myself at his feet. No, I don't mind at all, Vada said, trying not to make a big deal of it, but still with a decent look in his eyes. So, in our first talk, I would gone and stepped on a landmine. I was in a colossal panic. I was searching desperately for a new topic to talk about when my gaze stopped at the book lying on the table. What is it you are reading there? Ah, it's a book called Up the Hill actually. I think I got it from the 100 yen section at Morisaki bookshop. Wada picked up the book and showed it to me. I secretly breathed a sign of relief that we would moved on from the last topic. Oh, I don't know. It is it good a book? Is it a good book? It's hard to say actually. It's kind of one of those tragic love stories. The author is a guy who had this one book and ended up dying in of security. When you read it, the writing can be clumsy and there are a lot of places where it feels like it's missing something, but there is something about in that fascinates me. I have read it around 5 times already. As he talked, he was staring at the oil painting of a road in the fields on the book jacket. There was something tender in the lovingly way he looked at the book that